Good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me at Naomi's Scrappy DIY Retreat. I appreciate those of you who are return champions and those of you who are new. So if you are new, please hit that subscribe button and that bell. I have 3 tree DIYs for us to do from the Dollar Tree Christmas trees. So here is the very first one. What you will need for this is just a Dollar Tree tree, the ones with the little shiny glittery things all over it. They come in 3, 4 different colors, and then 2 of the mop pads. They're the real fuzzy, fluffy ones. So all you want to do is you want to first just unravel all of that glittery stuff. And I can't think of what it's called. I guess it's just garland. So just unravel the garland, and it's actually pretty easy. Once you undo the bottom of it, it just comes right off. Then you just want to lay out your tree on top of it. And I ended up laying it more at a diagonal because that way you only need 2 pads. If you do it this way, you may need a little bit more because you're not going to have extra. So just go ahead, as you can see there, I've hot glued it. Just go ahead and hot glue the very top of it, wrap it around, continue to hot glue. It's really that simple. Just hot glue, wrap, hot glue, wrap, more so. So there's what the first pad looks like. And so then I just took the second pad and laid it over to figure out where the best position was for this. And once I got that done, I just did the same process again. I hot glued it and I just kept wrapping. Now, what you will notice is that there's a little teeny tiny kind of rectangular, not rectangular, triangular kind of shape at the bottom of the tree that's not covered, but that's okay because you have the extra at the bottom of that mop that you can use. So I just cut that off and then use that to fill in the space that we had free. And as you can see from the next frame, this is the triangular piece I cut off. I reversed my frame, so I apologize for that. But that was just the excess piece at the bottom. So then all we do with that then is the same thing. You just hot glue it. Any little bits that you have left, just kind of shove here and there so that way it kind of fills it in. And I actually took this and I wrapped it around the bottom of that tree and I just hot glued the excess around. So there's probably 1/2 inch to an inch of excess that you'll have over. And that's what I did. Now, don't do as I do, do as I say. I took a bead from the Dollar Tree, but I used a blue one. I would have, if I would have been in my clear sense, I would have painted that white and then I hot glued it to the top. That's just so you can, just makes the top a sturdier base. Now this, oh my goodness, this stuff made such a mess of me. So I just wanted to show you, if you're going to craft with this, when you're cutting it, it will make a huge mess, but it turns out really cute. So the other thing I did was I took the LED tube lights and I just wound it around and I shoved the battery pack inside of it with a little bit of glue. I did not glue the thing total. I had put a snowflake at the top, but I really didn't like it. So on a trip I made to the Dollar Tree, I found this Dollar Tree star. I apologize, that was not at the very beginning, but you can decorate this however. It looked cute with little jingle bells. It looked cute with little balls. There's tons of different options, but this is what it looks like lit up. And I'm telling you, this looks so much better in person than what it does in this picture. And I guess maybe it's just my camera taking skills. I'm not sure. But now we're on to our Dollar Tree craft project number 2. And we're going to use again the same Dollar Tree shape, and I have already unwrapped the garland from it, and you're going to actually need 2 of these nautical ropes. Now what I can tell you is that not all the nautical ropes are the same size and they're not all the same length. I don't care what it says, it is not, because I wrapped just started hot gluing and wrapping at the very top. I actually left the plastic on until the very end. That way I could go back and cut the plastic off and then hot glue it once I had that position where I wanted it at the top of that Christmas tree. And then I just wound around and wound around. Now, unfortunately, I had 4 pictures that I'd taken of the process, and I deleted them. And as soon as I deleted them, I was like, oh my goodness, because typically I transfer and then delete, and I forgot to transfer first. This is just showing you that I'm putting a little bit of hot glue here and there in between each of the two um, layers, just to help glue it, just to give it more stability. So if you can see here, the bottom like 4 or 5 rows is the second thing of rope that I used, and it was much thicker and much shorter than the very first rope that I used. So I'm just showing you that. And then that's what it looked like at the bottom. I was like, okay, this is not going to work, because I didn't want to open up another nautical rope, and the two of them going together don't really work the greatest. It's hard, it's trickier to work with. Now, it's probably just me, and I'm sure you won't have that problem. But what I decided to do was use the other nautical rope, the one that looks more like jute, and that's what I used for the bottom. And then you also see I made a star. So all I wanted to do with this nautical rope then was just take it and start unraveling it. And you'll see that in the next frame. And it has like 4 larger strands, and in those strands is smaller strands. So all I did was I took 2 of the larger strands and unwound them from each other. I hope you can see that from this picture. So there's 4 strands, and I made 2 strands of 2 strands. And that's what I did, and that's what I used around the bottom. I actually used the full thing, but what I used around the top then was I made a star. So I just made a star out of jute, and oh, that was the bow I was using. That's why I separated it. Sorry about that. So then the star is just plain jute. I wrapped jute around the top, and then I just made a star out of cardboard and just continued to wrap and wrap, hot glue to the top. I put those little bows on. The one to the farthest left is to cover up where the two met each other and weren't that great. So anyhow, all of that being said, it was super cute, and I hope that you have enjoyed it and will join me for DIY tree number 3. I will tell you, for DIY tree number 3, again, I've already unwrapped the tree. This is from one of those packs from Walmart, and so there were like 5 or 6 in the bundle, and it's just. And then at the end, you'll also need some berries. And then I made a wreath. I made a wreath. That's the wreath type stuff you can get at Walmart. And then 3 of the Dollar Tree little pine cones. So I just cut these strips of the flannel into strips. Actually, what I ended up doing, and I wish I would have left it this size now, but what I ended up doing was actually cutting that in half again. But don't do it, because if the smaller you cut, the longer it's going to take you. So what I did was I started at the top, and I ended up not keeping all of that fabric at the top because I didn't like how that was going to turn out. So I just kept fabric at the top, so that way when I got to the top, there would be fabric up there and it would be easier. I also then took fabric, wrapped it around the bottom of the Christmas tree. That way it would give the bottom of the Christmas tree a nice finished edge. And then I just started working around, and I just started pleating. I started pleating and gluing, pleating and gluing, pleating and gluing. And I just did this all the way up at the top. Now, if you can see, there's 2 different colors of this check, and what I ended up doing then was flipping the fabric over. That way the red, you would have more of that red and black looking instead of just black and black and black and black. So this is all I did. I just did it all the way up, but it took forever. Now you can use any type of fabric. You could use a ribbon. A ribbon would be actually probably maybe easier to work with, especially if it's got like a wire in it. But I continued just to do this all the way up the tree, and it took almost the whole flannel piece. I guess I think it's called a fat quarter. It may be called a fat quarter, but there were multiple, and they were Christmas colors. So this was what it took all the way to the top, and it took almost the whole thing. I probably have maybe a 3-inch section left. So just for this little wreath, I just took some of that Dollar Tree, and I don't know what it's called, but it's really skinny. I just wrapped it around itself. I made a cute little buffalo check bow, put 3 little pine cones on it, and then took those pip berries that you saw at the beginning of this and just cut them off and then hot glued them in, and it turned out really cute. Now, there's I still think it needs something, but I'm not sure what it needs. So if you look at this and you're like, girl, it really needed to have blah, 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 please let me know in the description below, because I just feel like it needed something else, but I wasn't sure. I was going to put greenery at the base and I didn't. So I hope. Normally, I invite you to do these crafts with me, and I forgot at the beginning. So I hope that maybe you go back, watch this, and do these crafts with me again. If you've done these crafts, or if you did do these crafts with me, I really appreciate it. If you did them, let me know how they turned out. If you did something different with one of them, let me know, because these are just ideas. So anyhow, for those of you who are subscribed, thank you so much for being a part of this. For those of you who aren't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and the little bell. If you guys like this, please also give it a thumbs up and share it. Just help me to grow this channel. I would really appreciate it so much. And for the rest of today, I hope you have a wonderful, blessed day and are a blessing to someone else. Thank you so much, and we'll see you again real soon.